Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the News Today edition of 24th and 25th of August, wherein we try and make all important news for the day in the most simplest format for you guys to understand. So let's look at the important news we are going to cover today. Firstly, ISRO has successfully completed its first integrated airdrop test for Gaganyaan mission. A parliamentary committee has highlighted India's low cattle and buffalo productivity. DRDO has successfully conducted maiden flight tests of integrated air defense weapon system. Supreme Court has told that there has to be no sand mining clearance without a replenishment study. Then India must transition from service-driven economy to becoming a product nation. That has been a one view which we are going to discuss today. And plants has emerged as the most economical, impactful invasive species, as a study has highlighted. We are going to cover personality in news, that is Vitthalbhai Patel, along with quick updates for the day. So the very first news, ISRO has successfully completed India's first integrated airdrop test for Gaganyaan mission. Again, any topic related to space, very important for your examination of both prelims as well as mains. In mains, you can use it in the form of examples or maybe India's development in the space sector. That is again a part of your GS paper number 3 under the topic of space under science and technology. And also maybe many a times, again I have given an example as well, where again in prelims there has been a lot of questions from space technology as well. So let's look at what exactly is this all about. So imagine a situation where again you are in a flight and something happens to flight in midair. So you are carrying a parachute, and that parachute is going to help you to land safely in the earth, right? So we need to test whether the parachute is capable enough to land a man from a spacecraft to the earth as well, earth or not. That has been the idea. In a similar manner, in this Gaganyaan mission of ISRO, where again we are sending manned or humans to the space system, once they are going to come back, there would be space capsules or that is carrying such humans or to the space. So once they are entering into the Earth orbit, they will be in a very high speed. So there has to be some mechanism to land them safely in the Earth ecosystem. So that has been the idea. So that safety check has been completed by ISRO, that we call as an integrated airdrop test. That is the idea. So again, it has been successfully conducted with the help of Air Force, DRDO, Navy and Coast Guard, right? So that has been the idea basically. And basically for astronauts, this is basically a deaccelerated system, because once a space capsule is entering back into the Earth orbit, it is at a very high speed. So that has to be checked, that again, if we are going to send manned missions to space, their successful coming back is also very important. So that has been the idea, that has been checked, and ISRO has successfully checked that as well, right? And the system is ensuring that when a crew capsule re-enters the Earth's atmosphere, it slows down safely and lands without any harm. So this was a mini rehearsal which ISRO has successfully conducted. Very important, just a few nature development around the topic of Gaganyaan mission. What exactly is Gaganyaan mission of ISRO? So under Gaganyaan mission of ISRO, it has been trying to send humans to space. So again, one such launch or one such space capsule will be sent, where again humans will be there, and that will be orbiting Earth. So again, a manned space capsule will be sent to observe, right? So again, it will be carrying, again the idea is to carry 3 astronauts to space, and again it will be orbiting around 400 kilometers for 3 days and bring them back safely. Launch vehicle, very important for any programs which you are preparing for the examination. You need to understand which launch vehicle is sending that particular spacecraft. For this particular instance, it has been done by LVM3, that is human rated LVM. That is LMVL is basically a renamed version of India's most powerful rocket, that is GSLV Mark III. and it has been successfully again tested and integrated so that again whenever humans are also carried through this particular rocket, that is going to be safe for them. So that safety has been checked by this particular launch vehicle. It has 3 stages. Number 1, solid, liquid and cryogenic stage. So again, very important. Then in terms of safety, it has been incorporated that again, if it is carrying humans, that safety precaution has to be taken up into consideration, and that is the name itself suggests human rated LVM-3. So again, if India is successfully sending humans to space indigenously, India is going to be the 4th country after US, Russia and China to launch humans into space. That is why it is very important. What exactly is its relevance? Because India's space program, and again we have been doing a lot since a couple of decades, right? So in terms of India's space program, we have Bharat Antariksh Station. That is, it is going to be India's own space station, where again Indians can go and work on that particular area. So again, in its, it is successfully going to be completed by the year 2035. Then moon mission, again, a manned moon mission has been planned to be completed by 2040, right? Then there are other upcoming missions with the name of Chandrayaan-4, mission to Venus, and many other. So all development around space you should be aware of. If supposedly a question asks about to track down the progress of India's space sector in the last decade itself, that is how you're going to have basic understanding of all basic major missions, and you're going to use them in your answers, right? And these missions, of course, because the idea of Viksit Bharat, which has been there, that we are completing 100 years of independence by 2047. So it is again aligning with the idea of India being a Viksit country by the year 2047. So this year itself in prelims examination, there was one question around the topic of space. For example, consider the following space missions: Axiom 4, SpaceX, Gaganyaan. How many of the space missions given above encourage and support microgravity research? What is the idea of microgravity research? Any space program where again we are dealing in a situation where again gravity is less than what we are observing in Earth. So of course space, we do not feel gravity. So all such programs are basically called as microgravity research. So my question to you is, please tell me in comments what would be the answer of this particular question, and also tell me briefly about, we had known about Gaganyaan, we discussed. Tell me briefly about the other 2 missions in the comment section as well. So this is how you're going to make aware. So sometimes UPSC gives you hint that again, yes, these were something which were there in current affairs. So again, you can expect questions around that particular topic as well, right? Then the next topic, Parliamentary Committee has highlighted a particular study that again, in India, we have a lot of breeds of cows and buffaloes. But once we compare it to the international level in terms of their productivity, in terms of how much amount of milk they are giving, Indian standard or Indian cows and buffaloes are lacking far behind at an international level, right? So that has been the idea which has been studied by this particular parliamentary committee, and they have suggested reforms that again, how we can improve the productivity of Indian cattle, that is cows and buffaloes. Again, important for your syllabus of GS paper number 3 under the topic of animal husbandry, right? So let's look at what exactly is the status. In terms of this, they have told that again, India has approximately 53 indigenous cattle breeds and 21 indigenous buffalo breeds. So again, we have a variety of cows and buffaloes, but when it comes to productivity, we are lacking behind. Once you see the data, that again, in terms of, let's say, Indian cattle or Indian cows, it is approximately giving 3.54 kgs of milk in a day. If I talk about Indian buffaloes, it is somewhere around 5.92 kgs per day. If you talk about any of a cross-breed variety of cattle or buffalo, right, it is somewhere around 8.52 kg per day. And if you compare it with an international level, we see Israel, their cattle are giving approximately 38 kgs of milk per day. If we compare it from USA, it is somewhere around 30 kgs per day. And that has been the reason, so that again, we have a lot of maybe resources in terms of cattle and buffalo, but we are going to improve their productivity. That has been the study with respect to this particular parliamentary committee, right? So then let's look at why productivity is low. So what are the reasons? The committee has told what are the reasons, and they have given us some suggestions as well. In terms of productivity law, we have a concept of artificial insemination. So again, that is an idea where again, there are good varieties or good breeds of bulls. Right, so semen of those bulls are collected, right, and they are artificially used for reproduction purposes. They are maybe used or let's say incorporated in the genitals of a cattle, right, and that's how artificially we are doing the reproductive task. Why important? Because there are a lot of bulls, but some bulls are of very good breed, very good quality. So why not to use, let's say, semen of that particular good bull for the reproduction purpose? That is how we are going to improve the breed, right, indigenously within India. But when the committee has suggested, once we talk about the idea of artificial insemination, it has been very less. It has been telling that again, only 30% of breedable bovines are getting, let's say, artificially inseminated. That has been the idea. What is the reason behind it? It's also told that once we talk about the manpower who are doing this artificial insemination process, the manpower is very less. India needs approximately 2 lakh of trained person in the idea of artificial insemination, but we have currently around 1.16 lakh. So there is a shortage of manpower, right? And then in terms of scalability, 80% of low-yield animals are there with very small and marginal farmers, right? And they have not have enough capacity to crossbreed or use good semen quality for artificial insemination process. So that is one major reason that again we have a lot of cattle and buffaloes with very small farmers or marginal farmers who have no much resources. So these are the few reasons which has been highlighted by the particular committee. What suggestions they have given? They have told that again, whenever, because the idea of declaring a particular breed of a cattle or a buffalo as critical, the current status tells that again, whenever a population of a particular cattle breed is minimum of 50,000, then we are discussing or maybe telling that particular cattle breed as a critical breed. So again, that has to be revised, because if we are going to go by the idea of diversity, right, so that criteria has to be rationalized, that the committee has recommended. Then in terms of inclusive programs, so again, as we have discussed that again, India's breed is not located at a particular area. It has been spreading across different states of the country. So again, when we are talking about increasing the productivity, so that has to be an inclusive program where again all state specific breeds and not just few high yielding variety of breeds are going to be targeted under this particular program. And next, it is going to be fixing risk accountability. That again, if we are talking about artificial insemination, if we're talking about capacity building, there has to be accountability of the person who has been given that particular task. So the committee has told that we are going to track the semen stations across the states. We are going to ensure availability of sexed sorted semens, right? Because again, we are going to have calves. So more female calves are particularly born. So again, that is the idea which this committee has told with respect to improving the productivity of cattle and buffaloes in India. Then, what are the initiatives with respect to India's indigenous breeds? Right. So again, by idea of why this question is very important. These programs could be used as an example of in any question where again it is talking about the idea of animal husbandry, right? Or it could be a nature of question in prelims examination. Maybe they can ask you about National Gokul Mission. They can ask you about accelerated breed improvement program. So something like these. So these news comes up, and again they come along and they gave us some idea that again what all topics have been associated with that particular topic. So you're going to read briefly about them as well. So again, under the National Gokul Mission, which was launched in the year 2014, the idea is of development and conservation of native breeds. Very simple. Under accelerated breed improvement program, again that idea of improving the breed quality of cattle and buffaloes within the country. So again, we are going to use the idea of artificial insemination, sex sorted semen, then again genomic tools. So again, very important. They can ask you, Gossip and Mahi skip what was in news. It is related to what? Right? So basically, in human DNA, right? So how do we see whether a particular, the body or human is carrying good genes or not? By studying its DNA. In a similar manner, whether a particular cow or a particular buffalo is having good genes or not, that could be used potentially for crossbreeding or maybe in the breeding purposes. So that has to be tracked. So initially it was a very slow process. So under this genome program, that is GOCHIP and Mahesh chip. So again, this is a DNA genome study program. GOCHIP is for cattle genetic improvement, and this is for buffaloes. So that has been the idea that again, if we are going to identify few of the good cows and buffaloes who are potential source for good breeding, they have to be good health. They should not carry any diseases. So through this particular genome program, we are going to maybe highlight or track down important gold qualities of cattle and buffalo. So again, very important topic for your prelims examination. And lastly, we have Bharat Pashudhan app. Again, it is an app which is a digital platform for animal ID, breeding, and health tracking. So these are the few important facts for your prelims examination. Then, do we have any question which was asked by UPSC? Yes, in the year 2015, there was a topic around the topic of animal husbandry. There was a topic. Livestock rearing has a big potential for providing non-farm employment and income in rural areas. What are non-farm employment? Again, traditionally agriculture, but apart from agriculture, there are other ways of employment in that which are associated with agriculture as well. That is called as non-farm employment. For example, poultry, for example, cattle rearing, all of these are non-farm activities. Discuss suggesting suitable measures to promote this sector in India. Right? So this is where you can talk about the suggestions which Parliamentary Committee has been given with respect to improving the breed quality of cattle and buffaloes in India. Then we have DRDO has successfully conducted its maiden flight test of integrated air defense weapon system. Again, important topic for your GS paper number 3 under the subtopic of defense. So all of you know that again, Indian skies also needs to be protected. We have seen Operation Sindoor, we have seen S-400 system, what we had, which helped us a lot in terms of to track down and again save us from a lot of missiles and drones which were fired on us. So India has been planning to have its own indigenous defense mechanism with respect to skies. So that has been the idea which has been done by DRDO. So it has successfully conducted its maiden flight test for integrated defense weapon system. So what exactly is this, right? So again, it is going to be a multi-layered defense mechanism which has been successfully conducted by DRDO. So in skies, whenever a missile, whenever a drone, whether any kind of an external threat is there on us, this system is going to detect it, and this system is going to make sure that again that is maybe taken out from the entire system before it entering and again harming us. That has been the idea. So it is protecting against missiles, aircrafts, and drones, and it has been helping in terms of 360-degree coverage security for borders, for army bases, and for critical installations. For example, nuclear power plants, for example, thermal power plants. So again, all important border areas, army bases, as well as critical installations what India has. How exactly does it work? So again, under this particular defense mechanism, it has been built around 3 layers, right? So the first layer, of course, here is what we call as, it is not just a weapon. It is a combination of many technologies working together. That is the idea of defense, what we have built for ourselves. Number one is quick reaction surface-to-air missile developed by DRDO. So again, this particular surface-to-air missile, many a times you must have been observed that again there are a lot of maybe army movement which has been happening. So again, in this particular movement, there are, or maybe in patrols, we have a lot of tanks and army moving together. So under this mechanism, what has been done, that again, it is a mechanism where again, it can track down any enemy drones, aircraft, or missiles up to the range of 30 kilometers, and they are mounted basically on vehicles so that again it moves along with the army whenever they are moving, and it is giving them protection even when troops are on move. So that has been the idea. Let's say if any troop is moving, and again around that particular movement, which this particular thing has been installed in that particular tank or the movement or any other device, right, or any other moving vehicle, so it can track any missile, any drone, any aircraft up to the range of 30 kilometers, and it can detonate that without harming the potentially to the army movement. Then we have a very short range air defense system which has been developed by Research Center IMAT, that is RCI. Many times you must have seen bazooka, where again army personnel carry some kind of a missile which can be man-handled. That is why the idea of it is called as man-pad. So again, it is a very portable device and it can be carried by army personnel, wherein at any point of time, if someone is seeing any kind of helicopter or drones within a few kilometers, which is visible to the eye, it could be detonated or maybe distracted by this particular system. Then the third mechanism what we have is in terms of laser weapon, that is directed energy weapon developed by Center for High Energy Systems and Sciences, where again lasers could be used to successfully destruct any of the drones or any aircraft. So again, it is very good technology, and again, India has used it in past at some point of time, right? So it is a very powerful laser beam that can travel at a very speed of a light, and it can burn the enemy drones, planes, or missiles in the air. So this is a 3-layer system. Once what we have seen, surface to air long range up to 30 kilometers. For short range, we have bazooka-like system, and then we have lasers as well. This is the 3 mechanism where again how we are going to protect us from any kind of let's say foreign or any kind of missile aircraft which is going to hamper us, right? Around all of these 3, we have a super brain functioning along with this, which is going to handle every such situation if something is getting detected. If, let's say, bazooka needs to be fired, so there has to be information which has to be given to them. So the brain of this entire program is what we call as command center. So the command center, all of these systems, the 3 systems are controlled to one room, and this command center is deciding which weapon is best to destroy and threat, and it is going to coordinate the whole attack system. It is being developed by Defense Research Development Laboratory. And again, the whole program is being under the DRDL, that is Defense Research and Development Laboratory, which is the nodal agency for the entire program. So very important development in terms of India's own capability with the ideas of defense security. And again, the growing tension and Operation Sindoor has highlighted its importance as well. Then why, again important, very basic, it is going to be giving us a multi-layered protection against diverse nature of aerial attacks. It is going to reduce India's dependence on foreign imported defense tech. For example, S-400 we have been using during Operation Sindoor, which we had got from Russia. It is going to safeguard the strategic assets for us, right? Because with this system, we are going to protect our cities, our borders, our military bases, our critical areas. Then it is, of course, going to boost India's indigenous defense capability. Very, very important development. So these kind of leading things what Indian defense sector has been doing could be your possible answers, maybe where again we are going to assess the performance of India's defense, or the idea of indigenization of defense technologies, right? Or maybe something around that particular topic could be asked in your prelims examination as well. Then Supreme Court has very recently in its observation has talked about that again there is going to be no sand mining, right, without a environmental clearance. That is, if sands are getting mined, so we need to check what exactly is a replenishment rate of that particular thing, then only sand mining clearance is going to be given. That has been the idea, right? So let's look at in detail what it is going to cover. Again, important for your GS paper number 3 on the topic of economy. So what exactly has happened? Many times what we have was seen that again sand mining clearance was given by different authorities, right, without considering the replenishment rate, that how naturally that particular sand could be replenished. For example, if we are cutting any trees for developmental process, there is a body which is going to observe first that again, if we are cutting a trees, how much is the nature capacity to regrow that particular tree. It is naturally possible or not. Then by observing that particular theme or thing, this environmental clearance is given. On similar lines, that has been told, sand mining is what? Sand mining is basically a process through which we are collecting sands, important minerals from the riverbeds, which are used in construction sector and various other sectors. So this sand mining was something being done, and it has been potentially very harmful for the environment. That then Supreme Court has observed this particular thing and told that if we are going to give clearance for any sand mining thing, we are going to first get what we call as a replenishment study has to be done, and then only, that is the idea of, it is going to check if rivers are naturally refilling the sand we are removing. And after that particular study, then only permission will be given by district survey report, right? Without it, any sand mining clearance would be incomplete, right? So again, going by this idea only, because if we are going to remove sands, we are going to check that how naturally river can maybe replenish that particular sand which we are removing. If rivers do not have a capacity, we should not do it. Why? Because of a lot of harmful impact associated with this particular thing. Let's see what exactly are these. Again, we have seen that again, sand mining is basically taking sand and stones from rivers or land for construction, for cement and other industries. What are its harmful effects? Number one, river bank erosion. So again, the land near the river is going to collapse if we are, of course, mining a lot of sand from them, and it has a lot of potential hazard. Number two, it is going to lessen the groundwater recharge. The groundwater is going to fall, right? So again, rivers and aquifers would get dried up. It is also going to create a biodiversity loss situation where again, if there are no rivers, how can you expect maybe fishes over there? If fish is not there, right? So again, a biodiversity around that whole ecosystem is going to be hampering, right? Then we have flood risk, very natural. If sands, because we have seen that with huge amount of, let's say, sands deposits around the river, the chances of protecting during the situations of flood is, of course, more as compared to if we do not have any kind of a sand over there. That has been the idea. Then in terms of water quality, because they are actually natural filters, right? So again, this is how maybe the groundwater, what we are getting is very of good quality, right? From the hand pumps, if you drink water, sometimes you cannot you can drink it directly without any filtration process, right? Because these sands and minerals are naturally filtering the harmful pollutants in the water, and that is how they are recharging groundwater as well, right? So this is how showing the importance of why sands, minerals around the river beds are very important. And again, if mining is being done, replenishment rate should be observed first. Very important. Then, in generally, what rules do we have? Because Supreme Court has told this particular instance with respect to sand mining. What are the current rules with respect to the whole idea of sand mining in India as of now? Number one, we have Environment Protection Act, which is an umbrella law for protecting the environment. Then we have Supreme Court under this Deepak Kumar case in 2012 has shared another observation that again, clearance should be needed for even small mining projects. Any small sand mining project that also requires clearance because of the harmful effect and the ecological imbalance which it is going to create. Then, as per the Environmental Impact Assessment Notification of 2016, cluster-based checks, replenishment has been made mandatory with respect to this. And then we have sand mining guidelines of 2016 and 20, which is talking about the sand minings need to be safe in order to ensure that again we are removing only that much amount of sand that is getting naturally refilled each year. That has been the idea. Very important and very wise and rational step of the judge of the court towards this particular direction. Then, any question which has been asked around this particular topic? Yes, let's see. In the year 2019, they have asked, coastal sand mining, whether legal or illegal, possesses one of the biggest threats to our environment. Analyze the impact of sand mining along with the Indian coast and citing specific examples. Here we can talk about what are the harmful effects of sand mining, what we have discussed. That is going to give you broad points. And also, in conclusion, we can talk about the recommendations or the Supreme Court judgment, right? That what they have told with respect to sand mining. That again, we are going to consider the replenishment rate as well. Then we have India must, there has been a concept which has been going on that again India must transition from service-driven economy to becoming a product nation. Again, very important topic for generally for your GS paper number 3, that is economy, Indian economy. What we have observed and what we have been seeing that again Indian economy has developed, but again we have jumped directly from agricultural sector to service-based sector. We have not explored the benefits of what we call as manufacturing sector, which has a huge potential in terms of economic development and as well as employment generation. So that has been the idea. Again, India is providing a lot of services. There are n number of multinational companies which are having their setups in India, which are using India's cheap labor market, right? And India is doing a lot of maybe development by providing raw materials, by providing services. But again, we do not have our own products majorly. So that has been the idea which has been told that if we are going to see a developed India, we are going to make sure that India is going to be a product nation. That has been the idea, what has been discussed. So India has transitioned. What exactly is the context? Because with the global tension, tariff wars, war going around the region, right? So it has been making sure that again India needs to have its own capabilities so that it is not dependent on majority of things for through import. That has been the idea. So India's challenge is because we have moved beyond services and we should move beyond services, talking about products. What exactly is a product nation? A product nation is basically a nation which is making and exporting high value of goods and not just raw materials or services, what India has been doing. Then it is also creating and selling new inventions, and of course these are intellectual properties like microchips, semiconductor devices, software, machines, medicines. These are the idea with respect to India having its own product. There are a lot of countries, for example, Taiwan is a country which has world's most advanced computer chips. We talk about China. China has a lot of control around the rare earth minerals. Similarly, India also need to have an expert area or an expert domain where again it is having a strong power. That has been the idea. What exactly and why this transition is needed, right? So, of course, it is going to give us a strategic leverage where again we are going to have owning our own products, which is going to give us a global influence around the whole economic sector. Then we have, it is going to help us in terms of maintaining a global supply chain where again we are brand building our own branded products. Imagine we have a iPhone-like, let's say, phones manufactured in India itself. That's had been the idea with respect to having our own products. Then in terms of economic resilience, because we have seen manufacturing sector has a lot of benefits. It is with manufacturing sector development, what would happen? The region around where again industries are being set up or manufacturing hubs are going to be set up, it is going to provide development for the region, plus it is going to create what? It is going to create employment. With employment, it is going to tackle another problem of poverty, right? So a lot of problems will be solved if we are exploring the manufacturing sector of the economy. So government has been talking about exploring this manufacturing sector with a lot of incentives, a lot of supports which it has been providing till now. And again, we have a new manufacturing policy as well in this particular regard. So that is the basis of this particular product nation concept. So in terms of steps, what we have been taking so far, that is production linked incentive scheme. So again, we have been giving it for, let's say, 14 key sectors as of now. What exactly is this PLI scheme? Let's say there is a base year is being chosen here. Let's say the base year is 2021. If a company A has manufactured 100 products in this base year A, right? If in the year 2024 it has produced 150 products, so from the base year, how much extra product it has manufactured? 50 more products. So the company will get incentive or extra money, which on this 50 products, which it has produced extra. That is the idea of production-linked incentive scheme. The more you manufacture, the more you are going to get incentive on the extra manufacturing what you are doing, right? Again, going with the idea of Make in India program. We have been also talking about design-linked incentive scheme because we have semiconductor industries, but again, the designing part is not being done in India. So any company which is designing semiconductors, incentives are given to such companies also. Then we have innovation missions, a lot of mission around National Quantum Mission, Atal Innovation Mission. We have India AI mission as well. We have National Logistics Policy, which is going to create an efficient and in transport as well as supply, because once manufacturing is done, we need to have a good transportation sector. We need to have a good supply chain system that is going to be ensured through this National Logistics Policy of India. So again, these are the few policies which have been taken so far in order to be envisioning India as a product nation. Very important topic for examination, and there was a question around this also. So with respect to how we are going to move forward, so for this vision of India to have a product nation, we need to have global partnerships. For example, if Taiwan is leading in computer chips, if China is leading on, let's say, rare earth minerals, so we are going to collaborate in terms of research and development. Of course, by doing that, then human capital, the biggest strength of India is what? It's demographic dividend. So again, we are going to train, we are going to skill such demographic dividend what India has with respect to envisioning the idea of India having a manufacturing hub or a product nation. And again, we are going to make policies which are very simple, which is having no red tapeism around it, and again, which is incentivizing manufacturing sector of the economy. That has been the way forward with respect to how we are going to boost or how we are going to proceed if India is going to be visioned as a product nation. There was one question which was asked in the year 2014, very classic question. Normally, countries shift from agriculture to industry and then later to services, but India has shifted directly from agriculture to services that we have discussed. What are the reasons for the huge growth of services vis-a-vis the industry in the country? Tell me in comments. This is one thing I'm asking from you because you have read that in your economics. Hint around the idea of LPG reforms. What happened after that? That is something is the underlying concept around this. Can India become a developed country without a strong industrial base? This is something I would like to please tell me in comments, these two sections specifically. Are you expecting India to develop? We are envisioning a economy which is going to be $5 trillion economy. How we are going to develop without having a strong industrial base? That is one thing I'm expecting in comment section. Then the next topic. So recently a study has found that again, there are a lot of invasive species which are there. And among all invasive species, plant invasive species are the most harmful in economic terms. They have led a lot of economic loss. That has been the idea which this particular study has told. What are invasive species? Again, a topic important for you, GS paper number 3, environment and ecology. Sometimes some foreign species come to the natural ecosystem and they multiply and they maybe take on that in that particular area in such a good extent that again they are hampering the natural ecosystem of that particular area. That has been the idea with respect to invasive species. They are not native to the area, right? And they have come down from other environment. So they are not naturally belonging to that particular area. And once they enter into that ecosystem, they are damaging that ecosystem. They have a multiplier effect in terms of the creation. Many times you see there are small weed variety of grass, shrubs, which has been there as invasive species in India, and they have multiplied in so many effects, and they have a lot of harmful effects with respect to environment and ecology of that particular area. So among all of this, it has been found that a study has found that India has lost approximately $2.2 trillion along, of course, worldwide, has been damaged due to this invasive species. And again, among this, plant species are predominant among them. So again, we have other animal species also, insect species also, right? So among them, plants are the most damaging, followed by arthropods. Arthropods are basically what? Insects, spiders, crustaceans, and basically mammals. Then what are invasive species? We have discussed what exactly are invasive species. Then examples of any invasive species in India? Yes, we have in terms of Lantana camara, that is a thorny shrub which was originally came from Central and South America, has taken down over forest. Please see its images in the web. You're going to see that again, a small, many times once you cross maybe any forest area, you are seeing small, colorful plants with some flowers. These are such plants which have grown in such a great extent that again, it has become an invasive species, which is not indigenous to India. Then we have Parthenium hyster forest, that is a congress grass. Again, a type of grass you must have seen. Just Google it, and again, you're going to see its image. Thorny shrub, which is originally from Central and South America, and it has invaded Indian farmland. Then we have Echoneria crasspice, that is water hyacinth, that is a thorny shrub which is originally from Central and South America, which is choking the rivers and lakes. Then we have African catfish, which was a fish that has been illegally introduced for cheap aquaculture, and it is killing the native fish of India. So these are the few examples of invasive species with respect to India. Very important, you're going to see them because this could be a potential question for your prelims examination. I'm sorry for some pronunciation over here, but again, please make sure that again, you're going to see them in the map and again, in the Google images, so that again, you have an idea that again, how, because you must have seen them, right? Then in terms of how they are harmful for the environment, they are disrupting the entire food chain. How? Because once they are, so they are maybe intruding into the natural ecosystem, and again, it is disrupting the entire food web. It is because if it is growing in such a big, huge manner, the native species of that particular region would get disturbed, its population would get disturbed, and if native population of particular species getting disturbed, the entire food chain or food web is going to be disturbed. Then we have biodiversity loss, because as they are invading, if you're living in a room, right, it has a space of 2 people. Now, 10 people come in that particular room. How will it impact your basic living lifestyle over there? Is it not going to get degraded in a similar manner? They are so much invasive in nature that again, they are damaging the natural biodiversity of any particular ecosystem. Then we have, sometimes they have a rare benefit. For example, honeybees, right, which are some non-native bees, have been helping with an idea of pollination, but primarily all of these invasive species are basically damaging to the environment and ecosystem. Then we have, do we have any control mechanisms? What has been, study has told? Yes, there are different checks and measures which we can do in order to tackle them. Number one, prevention, because once these species are technically entering through trade, through ships, right? So all of these checkpoints has to be better strictly managed in terms of trade, travel, and shipping. And that is why you see whenever in the customs department, once people are coming from foreign countries, their bags are getting checked. That again, are you carrying any kind of any vegetable or anything which is not, let's say, indigenous to India? Right? So such kind of things are being checked at airports, so that again, no invasive species should enter in the Indian ecosystem. Then we have other control mechanisms. Biologically, predators, pathogens, and parasites can track them. Mechanically, through physical removal, weeding, right? If there are some plants which are growing in a very huge quantity, there has to be through mechanical process we can remove them. Then chemically, it can be tackled through herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, basic mechanism. And lastly, it's eradication and restoration. We need to remove and we need to act very early, right? And then we need to restore the native species and habitat in order to tackle the situation altogether. Then we are going to cover the personality in news today, that is Vitthalbhai Patel. He was the elder brother of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and recently we have completed 100 years since he has become the first elected Indian president of Central Legislative Assembly in 1925, right? So again, he was a very pioneering Indian who has been representing India in the legislative domain under the British rule. That makes this personality very important. Sometimes people ask us, "Ki, sir, how what are the topics from history which are important? Does history has any current affairs?" Yes, sir. These personality comes back in news and they become important for your examination, right? So again, 100 years of completion, all topics around this particular personality is very, very, very important. For example, the idea of Central Legislative Assembly in the British rule, all such topics are very important. So few facts, basically when was he born? He was an elder brother of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. By profession, he was a lawyer, reformer, nationalist leader. His contributions include he was a member of Bombay Legislative Council. He was also elected to Imperial Legislative Council in 1918. He was a co-founder of Swaraj Party in 1922 along with Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das. He was the mayor of Bombay from 1923 to 1925, and in 1925 he was the first Indian to preside over the Central Legislative Assembly. That is how an Indian during the British rule who represented in the legislative domain, he was a pioneering man, very important. And again, he was also an elder brother of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So important personality, 100 years of completion, very important for you for the examination. Then we quickly moving to see the quick updates for the day. So Consumer Protection Act, Supreme Court ruling has passed. That again, initially, the judgment or the orders which were given by these consumer forums, they were not carrying a decree of a civil court, right? So let's say if you have bought a phone and that phone is not working properly, you went to a consumer forum, you complained. Consumer forum told the company to give you replacement. But again, the company is delaying it. Because why? Initially, the decisions or maybe the directives given by these consumer forums were not considered legally binding. So Supreme Court recently has clarified that again, consumer forums can enforce all their orders, not just interim ones, and orders should be treated just like civil court decrees. So again, it is making now if you go and complain in consumer forum, and again consumer forum is telling that particular company to replace your phone, it is legally binding. And if company is not doing it, it is legally obligated, and again legal action could be taken against that particular company. That has been the basic idea. Basic facts. In 2002, we made an amendment which has weakened the consumer forums, where again they can only give interim orders, and it could not be legally, let's say, applicable. Then the Supreme Court closed this loophole with respect to that particular idea. Again, the Consumer Protection Act came in the year 1986. And in 2019, we came with what we call as Central Consumer Protection Authority, which was created. Again, it has simplified the complaint process, e-filing. It is again product liability is going to be introduced. All basic facts, but again, this topic of Consumer Protection Act was very important. Again, this could be one question in your prelims examination. Then we have free movement regime, India-Myanmar border, again, very important development. In 2018, we signed an agreement, a bilateral agreement with Myanmar, that again, there would be free movement of people across that border for a limited area or limited range. The range was around 16 kilometers, and without passports, people could move. But this is something which has been there and reconsidered by India with respect to security concern. And India has told that again, government basically has told that again, we are going to withdraw this particular agreement, right? And again, it is not implemented as of now. We are just told. The new system was declared in the year 2024, and it has told that again, we are going to give a very single entry pass. No one can move without, of course, there is no pass. In the initial agreement, it said, without any passport, without any document, people can enter India and they can move around the border for 16 kilometers. But again, the new agreement, which was there in the year 2024 December, it was passed, and it told ki it needs to get approval from Assam Rifles, that is a regiment, right? And again, that particular pass is going to give us a validity of 7 days, and people can move around only 10 kilometers, not 16 kilometers, and they must return at the same crossing point from where they have entered, so that again they can be tracked, the movement could be tracked, and the crossing points, of course, is going to be manned by police, health officials, and Assam Rifles. It was in news because Assam Rifles has told 42,000 Myanmar nationals have entered India. That is basic news, very important. Free movement regime between which countries? India, Myanmar, India, Bangladesh, India, China, or India, Nepal? That could be a question in your prelims examination. Then we have Kursk region of Russia. Again, recently a Ukrainian drone strike has happened, and that had led to a very short kind of a wildfire which has happened in the Kursk nuclear power plant. That was the news. So the basic locational factors. This is located in the European part, which is owned by Russia, again bordering with western border of Ukraine. History-wise, it has been the Battle of Kursk in 1943, which was the world's largest tank battle, turning point of World War II. Geography, it lies in the Dnieper and Don River basins. Basic facts, what minerals are found: one of the richest iron ore deposits globally. Very important location-wise, you're going to study them. That could be a question, because nowadays UPSC has been asking questions. Place in news, 1 column, why in news, 1 column, and again options. So again, this could be that nature of question in examination. Then we have International Big Cat Alliance. Recently, it is an India initiative which was there in the year, launched in the year 2023, once we completed 50 years of Project Tiger. So again, the idea is that again, all big category of cats, that is tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard, cheetah, and jaguar and puma, they are going to be conserved, right? And again, it is coming under India, the secretary, of course, in India. The structure is, it is going to be a coalition of multi-country, multi-agency, any country up to the range of who are interested in conservation of such species are very much welcomed. And currently 13 countries are a member, including India. Recently, Nepal has joined this particular alliance. That is why it was in news. Again, important topic. They can ask such questions in prelims examinations. Who is the recent country? What are the member countries under this particular alliance? Where it is headquartered located? Such kinds of prelims-based fact question could be asked. Then we have crop residue and biodiversity. A new study has found, many times we have talked about air pollution in Delhi and the idea of subtle burning. We see that farmers, what are crop residue? Some kind of stem, some kind of husk, which are left once a particular crop is getting harvested. Technically, they are burned. So while burning, it is leading to a lot of damage to the environment as well as ecosystem and as well as to the soil health. That the study has particularly highlighted. It has told it is again leading to soil nutrient loss, where again it is lowering the long-term productivity, air pollution, self-explanatory, decline of national predators. Because once there are a lot of things, let's say on such maybe let's say plants, husk, leaves, there are few species of fauna, flora who are feeding on such, let's say, crop residue. If you are burning, you are naturally taking the food of these predators, and they are getting out of that particular ecosystem. Once a species is getting out of the ecosystem, it is going to damage ecosystem in the long run. That has been the idea. And lastly, it is of course going to disturb food web. If the predators are not there, it is of course the whole cycle is getting disturbed. That has been the idea. Then we have Mount Kilauea in Hawaii. Again, recently volcano has erupted. Again, that is why it was in news. Again, same question. Place in news, why in news? Such kind of questions could be formed from this particular kind of topic. Basic facts, where exactly is located, right? And it is the world's most active volcano region. Again, a part of United States of America. Again, why very important? Because this kind of volcanic eruption, for the very first time since 1983-86, we have found the episodes of lava fountains, right? And again, volcanic gases consist of H2O, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, right? So basic facts around the topic, very important. But again, place in news, why in news, questions can be framed from these set of topics. Then we have James Webb Space Telescope. So recently, the 29th moon has been discovered. So no official name has been given to it by IAU, but again, as of now, we are calling it as S/2025U1. So it was observed or maybe discovered by James Webb Scale Telescope. So very important. So again, these kind of discoveries make topic important, as well as which was the object, or let's say subject, which has been used to particularly discover that particular thing. Hubble Space Telescope, James Webb Space Telescope. So again, questions around that particular topic could be asked in examinations. Again, it is launched jointly by NASA, European Space Agency, Canada Space Agency. Duration, they are there for approximately 5 to 10 years. They are using infrared space observatory. So again, basically they are detecting heat waves for observation, and they are orbiting not around the orbits of Earth, which was done by Hubble. It is done by around the Sun at the Lagrangian point L2, which is 1.5 million kilometers from Earth, and not Earth exactly. Purpose for space exploration, right, and detecting galaxies, stars, planets, and habitable world. Very important topic for examination. Then we have X-Guard fiber optic towed decoy system. So basically, it is believed that in Operation Sindoor, India used this technology, which is there, which we have taken from Israel. That is, Israel's Rafael is the company which has manufactured it. Many times in movies you have seen, many times in whenever fighter jets are maybe flying on aircrafts, once, let's say, a target has been logged to a particular aircraft, then that aircraft could not be saved. So with this technology, what exactly is happening? We are fooling around that whole system. There is something which is attached to the aircraft that we call as X-Guard. So once an enemy aircraft is targeting a missile towards the one aircraft, that missile could be maneuvered. Why? Because with this X-Guard decoy, so it is targeting that decoy, and the spacecraft could be left, or it could be free. That has been the idea, right? So again, basically, maybe helping in terms of space, in terms of, let's say, attacks on airplanes, very important. Defense mechanisms with respect to aircrafts in the defense area. That is why it was in news. Again, very important fact, right? Again, it is just believed. There is no confirmation as of yet. That is why it was in news. So with this, we come to the end of today's discussion. So all important prelims-based questions which could be asked from the topics what we have discussed today will pop up in your screen. It is your responsibility now to solve the questions and to get a completeness or sense of completion that you have read the topic, you have revised it, and you have solved questions also. That is how you're going to get confidence for the examination. And please post your comments once you have solved such questions. That is, of course, going to create a competitive spirit among all the aspirants who are watching the News Today edition by Vision IS. And lastly, Vision IS has come up with a digital current affairs platform, which is going to be a one-stop solution for all current affairs issue around the examination. Please go and explore. It is going to help you a lot in terms of your current affairs preparation. And thank you so very much, and have a good night. All the very best.